Alright, welcome. Just a little video regarding immigration. I know it's quite a complicated issue for a lot of people, and it does look like, there have been families that are being separated, and that's been going on for a long time. But the thing is just people are coming in here, and there's a lot of them coming in here, and it's illegal. So I'm really not against the legal entry into the United States for our country. But I don't really want to have to sit here and say I back illegal entry because I really don't. And I'm pretty well versed on the sides to both, and I do understand quite a bit about it. I have had some friends who were actually from Mexico and El Salvador, and I will talk to them and I understand their side. And these are people who are both in here legally and some. No, they were all here legally. I'll get into that later. But several of them were deported years ago, and this has been quite a while. I haven't seen them for a long time. I did keep in contact with a few of them, but I've kind of lost contact with them, but still would call them friends. And I'll go into specifics, but not names. But yeah, several of them were deported years ago. For one of them, he was a friend who was brought here by his family when he was 6 months old. He had two older brothers, I believe were older than him, and they were brought here as well. So at 6 months old, the only thing this individual knew was the United States, and it wasn't until he was in his 20s that he was deported. When it happened, mm, he was unable to find transportation to the immigration office, which the office that he had to visit was about 3 hours away driving. Yeah, I guess he couldn't find a ride from family members or brothers, and this man had kind of dived into a lot of depression, I believe, um, which is unfortunate, and this might have driven it, and then he was not always communicative with his family, but they were from Mexico, or they are from Mexico. So they deported him because he wasn't able to get to a meeting, and it was a 3 hour drive. As far as it goes with phone calls and whether he can call or didn't call, I don't know the specifics, but he was deported. Now, his two older brothers that I spoke about earlier, as far as I know, were arrested in Portland, Oregon for DUI, and then they were deported afterwards. I think they had had some previous criminal convictions, and it just led to the deportation. I don't know the specifics as far as that goes, because this happened pretty suddenly. Not exactly, but they were there and then they weren't there. And no, I haven't heard about the brother since. I have spoke to the younger brother, the one that was in the United States since he was 6. The parents of these three individuals still live in the USA, and they have other children. They were younger children, and I know those children are a lot older now. Um, never really had much, if any, communication and interactions with the rest of the family, just the three brothers mostly. Just the one that was here since he was 6 months old. So yeah, the rest of his family still live there. But a good tale is he's living in Mexico now, and now I'm gonna get into that in a little bit. So just to go further into my topic points, uh, I do support the idea of making it easier for illegal entry into the country. I can't be the one that writes that up and presents it and shows it to people, but I'm still just not for the illegal one. I don't know how to implement that myself to try and make it easier, but I can say that I didn't really like the idea that someone that was 6 months old to his 20s was living here in the United States and then was deported. I feel like 6 months is pretty young, and I know the arguments when it comes to infants and people who bring children here to just get the citizenship for their children. I understand that. I got both sides, but um, I still feel like the legal entry. But I still feel like 6 months is like you could kind of cut somebody a little bit of slack because of the young age bracket. And I mean, it's not the child's fault that the parents brought them. So that's just my idea on that. And as far as deporting families together, I think I've heard that they're doing options to allow families to go all together, or but the ones that are here legally versus illegally, there's a big difference. All the people I know and have known were here legally, and there was just a few instances that caused their deportation. If these things hadn't happened, they would still be here. So going forward, I wasn't really happy that it was 6 months and then he was in his 20s and was deported. However, I was going to mention that he has a really good life now. He's married and has a son. They're in Mexico and they're doing, as best as they can. I have sent money to him and I've tried to help him out what I can. I haven't talked to him for a long time. So I guess my side has to do with going to south of the border. Again, I could definitely back making it easier to enter the United States, but I don't know how to implement that. And I will also back naturalized foreign citizens, but I strongly support the idea of making Mexico a better place and all the countries below it. I could even go so far as to say that I will back military operations within these countries. But, you know, the big reason why these people leave these countries is because they're violent, they're corrupt. There's just so much going on there, and they're not like the United States. And you know, making a wage there is not like the United States. So I understand why people try to come here, but it's illegal. I don't know what to tell them. I wish the process was easier, and I've seen it people through the process. So it's just kind of, there's an area there where I'm just gonna have to draw a fine line and say, no, I don't accept you. And this is when it comes to south of the border. So I said I support making Mexico a better place for people to live. This means all the operations that we can to make it a better place. We are seeing that with Trump. He's already gone after cartels. I know I read that even the CIA has decided to become involved with taking down the cartels as well. So this is a good start for, in my opinion. We're trying. I think we need to try and make the places where these people are coming from a better place for them. And I know they all want to come and live the American dream. I understand, but there are just processes that we have to go through and things that we have to go through. That's just how it is. So for the others who are not south of our border, I still feel the same way. I feel like they need to go through the legal process, and if they want to remain in the United States, they have to keep their paperwork up to date. Without knowing what country they're from, I can't really be specifically, I'm trying to tell you, but We give visas and those temporary stays, and we allow travel. But you know, once you outstay that visit, you have become an illegal alien in the country, and we've seen that quite a bit as well. Um, it's just the way it is. I did read a story not too long ago about a man that was here, and I think he's from Iceland or somewhere around there, and I guess they were going to try and deport him, and I think they caught him right before he was getting on a plane because his visa had expired. And so they sent him on a plane though, and he did make it back. But there's people that we're not just focusing just on south of the border, but I guess there's other people from other countries as well. I know in the media that I see a lot of the south of the border thing, but there's a lot of others too. But it's because our lands are not like uh, separated by oceans and we're landlocked together, so we just see that bigger portion of people coming in from south. And those are people from, Mexico, Guatemala, El Salvador, Brazil, Colombia, all that. And I do know about the violence in Mexico, and I have some pretty good reliable information about the streets of El Salvador. So I know what it's like from a person's perspective that has lived in these places. And no, they really didn't back the idea, I think, of Donald Trump in the beginning. No, they knew that it was going to make it harder for them. Well, for people that they believed in, and I guess my stance is still just what it is now. I was hoping that they could figure out their legal needs and be able to meet them because they're really good people. They did some dumb things. I mean, the friend of mine that was 6 months when he came here, it wasn't really his fault, so far as I see. But everything turned out, and now he's living a pretty good life down in Mexico. Anyway, I support legal citizenship from other countries. I don't support the illegal entry of people and the illegal stay of people in our. I believe that we should keep our borders safe, and I have so many things to share in regards to that. But that's just a good little wrap around about me, how I stand in the immigration, and I hope you all have a great day. May the peace of the Lord be with you. All right.